Recording.
Your timing on that was a little fucked, but
You fucking love
we're
that
doing
timing.
it.
What's up, dude?
Not a lot, man. Not a lot.
Oh, it is for all intents and purposes Mother's Day. So, if at the chance that you're listening to this now, you haven't told your mother that you love her, you failed
Yep,
and you
yep.
can try again next year.
That ship has sailed. Was Mother's Day yesterday or today?
Yeah, it was yesterday. It was
Okay.
Sunday.
Okay, good.
Um so,
Making
yeah.
sure that I wasn't a huge piece of shit and just called on the wrong day cuz
No, no, it was yesterday. So hopefully the one that gave you birth, you acknowledged yesterday and sent some flowers.
there was a really good video on Instagram yesterday of I forget the dude's last name. His first name's Andy, but he's the guitar player for Every Time I Die, and he's this huge fucking man with this giant mustache. And he was telling everyone that they should tell their mothers how much they love them, and then explaining to them the pain that they went through childbirth, all while acting like a professional wrestler. And it was really fucking funny. Super fucking stupid, but really funny.
I gotta look that up. That's fucking great. Well, in the essence of Mother's Day, my mom told me I turn your podcast off halfway through because my mother, believe it or not, doesn't play a lot of video games.
Wow.
But she loves the science shit that she gets out of it. She loves learning something new. She always has. And so that was her request for this time. She was like, "Well, do some research and like have something good for this week." So it made me really hunker down and find something interesting. So hopefully, if you've been listening and for whatever reason haven't been getting your fill of fantastic news, I've tried to bring that, but that does push the entire blame of the second half of this podcast onto you because I didn't write down anything
That's all right. I like
for video games, at least.
try to keep up with it. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, we'll
Uh,
see. We'll see if it floats.
yeah. Did you get a chance to talk to Mama Wright?
Yeah, yeah. This weekend is their biggest weekend of the year, so they don't really have much free time at all. So yeah, flowers were sent and candies, and I was able to talk to her on the phone for a little bit yesterday.
Yeah, my poor mother, her birthday falls just a week before Mother's Day. So she kind of gets gypped on a Mother's Day gift cuz it's like
A week's too close.
it's too close. Like I can't. I'm gonna send you like flowers and the nice thing on Mother's Day or whatever. But when it comes to like a gift, I got my mom this year for her birthday. My mom's a huge Betty Boop fan, and she has been. When did Betty Boop come out? The fucking 50s.
Yeah, I think
So
something like that.
my mom grew up with Betty Boop, and I'm a if you listen to the original like early podcast, you'll know that I'm a big retro video game collector. I love 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit. Like I like the older style scrollers. So one day I was out hunting and I was at it was mostly a music store, but they sell a lot of cool video games. And I was there looking around, and inside their glass case, they had a Betty Boop, almost done in like a Chinese porcelain doll style.
Oh, okay.
Very, very fine fingers, but it was all porcelain, you could tell. And it was in this case. And I picked it up at what I thought was a good deal for it. It was numbered and signed on the bottom. I don't recognize the signature, but I'm not the fan. My mom was.
Sure.
So I picked this thing up. Now this was months ago, and I was like, "Yep, there's my mom's birthday present." So I picked it up and I held on to it for a while, and she got it this week, and she was pretty excited about it. It was it's numbered. It's hopefully
That's
I can get a
awesome.
picture up on Facebook. But I was so shocked to find, because I mean, Betty Boop has now been turned into like a bumper sticker magnet at a dollar store type person.
Yeah, for sure.
The original nice stuff is kind of forgotten and gone. But I bought. That's where I got my R2D2. I think you saw it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
My I really like that R2D2, but um I picked it up at that same store and found that. So that was a cool find. I was glad to get that for her. So hopefully the nostalgia of that kind of rolled over to, Mother's Day. I was like, here's some flowers. Like, you're too close. I can't come up with two cool things at once. Sorry. But for her, I'll try to do some sciencey things today.
That's nice
How was the woods?
of you. It was woodsy. It, uh, you know, we went out to we we went to go find a gooey duck, and I don't know if you know what those are, but it's like a
I got
clam.
no fucking clue. What's a gooey duck?
It looks like a giant horse dick. Like if you look it up, it just looks like just huge donger that's hanging out of this clamshell. So we went looking for one of those. You have to like dig them up. But we ended up not finding any of those. We found a horse clam, which is like a small horse wiener, but not a gooey duck. But we found a bunch of clams and yeah, camped for one night. And yeah, our buddy Jay cracked open a bunch of oysters. It was like the whole area that we went to. It was it was low tide for the month, and the tide was out. God, what was it, like 2 feet or something like that? But it's pretty flat out there, so the tide was out like quarter of a mile, half of a mile.
Oh yeah.
So we walked like all the way out there to the edge of the water, and then we were digging for stuff out there. So that was fun. But we had to go across these fucking oyster beds. They don't allow you to take the oysters off of the beach. So if you're gonna eat oysters or you're gonna keep oysters, you have to shuck them and leave the shell on the beach, because baby oysters just turn the dead oyster shells into, or like they just grow off of those and become oysters. It's a weird thing. They just pretty much use their dead siblings as their house, I guess. Or a surfboard would be a better idea. But yeah, Jay got some oysters, and then the dogs got their paws fucked up because, speak of the devil, because running on those oyster shells is murderous on their feet. But so we ended up having to keep them in the truck. Saw some bald eagles, so that's neat. It's not near as common out here as it was in the northern Midwest, but nature shit.
I like how much of an indoor cat you are, and now you're just thrown out into the wild. You got to deal with it.
What'd you say, sweetheart? Oh, we saw an octopus. Like
Oh,
when we were, yeah, well maybe. Yeah, Melissa's pretty sure that we saved its life, but I don't know. He was on the land. There were like fish everywhere on the ground. It looked like the tide just went out. Like it just, not surprise.
instant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
suffocate, idiots. But we walked by an octopus that was just like sitting on the ground, just hanging out. And our Oscar, the black and white dog, he ran up and like shoved his face in it, because that's how he do. And the octopus like instantly turned like whitish gray to look like him. It was pretty trippy. Those things are
That's pretty
terrifying.
dope.
Yeah. So that was cool. We scooped him up, and he was still crawling around and stuff, but we scooped him up and threw him into the water. So hopefully he'll go on to haunt somebody else's dreams.
Yeah, he'll probably kill 5 people.
Probably.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Natural selection.
Good job.
That's right.
That's what you guys did. That's really cool, though, man. I'm glad you guys are getting out and seeing the things. We went this weekend to the Milwaukee Museum and looked at the big dinosaur exhibit that they have.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. How was that?
It was cool. I mean, they have Wisconsin has lots of fossils, right? It's still in the glacier slope, so much of the frozen landscape of older times are prevalent there. So there's a lot of mammoth bones discovered, lots of mammoth. That's
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
much the big one. Um, while I was there, I got to
Ride a
I got to
raptor.
witness the worst interaction among people.
Oh, boy.
If you know stupid people, take them to places and make them learn. Because we were standing looking at mammoth bones. These aren't casts. These aren't a
Like
digital
recreations or
representation.
something.
It's the real thing. This was on a living mammoth that died. And the girl looked at her boyfriend and said, "You think dinosaurs are real?" And he goes, "Nah, I don't believe they were ever alive." And then they walked off. And I just stared like I could not
I
focus
hope it was a hidden camera show.
for the rest of the day. Like I just watched them because I wanted to see every interaction because they were at make believe land.
Sure.
Neither one of them believed that dinosaurs have ever existed, but they were on some weird date to the Milwaukee Museum. It was
You want to go get high and look at fake shit? Show enough.
is so bad. It was just it hurt to watch that happen. And Melanie, she goes, "Did she just ask him if dinosaurs are real?" I I don't know what to answer. Like that's what I heard, but I don't want to believe it. So,
That's
oh,
fucking awesome.
yeah, that was pretty rough. But that was the weekend. Other than that, was just spent still trying to unpack a little bit.
Nice. I saw on Facebook you posted something about your motorcycle. You have it at a.
That's right. The my '77 Ironhead is in a vintage motorcycle show. It qualifies for the antique class, and it'll be on display this Sunday in at the Paps Brewery for Brewtown Vintage Motorcycle Show.
Nice. So are you taking it, or is it like?
It the one cool thing about this motorcycle show, which is an annual event, you have to ride it. So I
Oh,
have
okay.
entered it, and you have to ride up to the thing, take your ticket, and then ride it to your spot. They can't be trailered or pushed in.
Right on. That's cool.
Yeah. Which is nice. So
Yeah, that's pretty respectable.
hoping to place, man. They got pretty good trophies. The bike's for sale, so any of this exposure is good for me. So I'm excited about that.
That's rad. It did. I mean, not to give up your trade secrets, but did you ever get those sockets replaced?
Yeah, I did.
Right
I
on.
did. Yeah, I ended up putting on forward controls and pulling out the site. If for people that don't follow on Facebook or anything, um, I like to buy
Pieces of shit.
pieces of shit and turn them into something that are not pieces of shit. So I have a
Sorry, not
77.
pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Items that were previously owned by someone who is willing to count safety as like a second priority.
It's normally the stuff that I get are people that had good intentions, but without the mechanical ability to do what they wanted to do. So the last guy, his welds were crap on this bike. He bought a barn find 1977 Ironhead Sportster and wanted to make a hardtail out of it, which is very common, but he didn't know how to do that. So he took a vintage bike that only had 4,000 original miles and turned it into something that I got for $1,600 because he just he just kind of screwed it up. So I took it and fixed that. That was my first job, was a motorcycle mechanic, so it's kind of always been my side passion. And it turned out really well. So we took it to the Harley Davidson Museum Bike Night, the first one of the year, and it got a lot of attention. People kind of flocked around it and wanted to know some answers, and we talked about it a little bit, and then we got entered into the vintage show at Pabst Brewery, and so hopefully we'll take home some prizes. Take home a trophy this year.
That'd be cool.
That'd be nice. So Sunday I'll spend polishing the tank up, and I think I need a new tire pretty bad, so I'm going to put a new front tire on it. I have a nice coil on there, but the color's not right, so I bought a different coil that matches a little bit better. So we get a couple of things to change, but I think we'll do all right. It's a nice running bike. It sounds amazing. It rides awesome. So hopefully we take home a trophy this year. That'd be
sick. What did you guys end up doing with the paint on it?
I painted the tank a satin black with a blue undercoat, so the very bottom of it was blue.
Oh, okay.
For accents. That tank fell while it was drying and dented the tank. So I ordered a new peanut tank for it, and then I wet sanded that down with started at like 800 and got down to like 2,000 grit sandpaper, and then I polished it and used gun oil to keep it from rusting, and it's just a raw metal.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I've got satin black headlight, satin black tail, satin black fender, and then my tank is now just raw metal that has been wet sanded and covered in gun oil to keep it from rusting. It looks really good. I'm actually happy with it.
That is cool. I like that look.
Yeah, it gets a lot of attention when it rides around. It sounds perfect. I mean, if you can imagine, those old bikes already have a unique sound, and this one only had 4,000 miles, which is about the break-in period. So it's like having a brand new 1977. And it fires up, instantly, rides perfect. So I'm excited. I think we'll do well. We'll at least get mentioned, or at least stir up a little bit of interest in the bike to sell it.
Yeah, right on.
That's always my thing, is moving on to another project, build another bike. But with that, my friend, I've got some very, very interesting news from the weird side of our planet. If you're ready to indulge,
I'm ready.
So the first thing that I want to talk about is a company that is they're a bioscience company. Their entire goal is to make the advancement of human life better, but I think their name is probably a little messed up. They should have gone with Umbrella Corporation, but do what you will, BioQuark. BioQuark is the name of the company, and what they are doing is working to reanimate brain dead patients. So we're not talking about bringing back people that are like out of the grave dead,
Yeah.
but their entire project is to bring back vegetable state patients
That'd be
using
like
stem cells.
stroke
And
victims and stuff.
if it's a very severe stroke, then yeah.
Okay.
These are the patients that are going after are 100% brain dead. That means that the machines that are technically keeping them alive have to control pumping of the blood, oxygenation,
That's crazy.
everything, like every aspect. These people are not doing anything on their own. They're using a laser manipulation as well as like electrical shock therapy added on to stem cells. So they add the stem cells. They are promoting growth and then trying to bring back your brain from what would at current time be considered dead. Like you could just unplug them legally and let them die.
Yeah.
So that will be, if this company has their way, no longer a thing. You can Lazarus affect these people back to the living, let them regain a consciousness. I don't know if it'll be theirs, but I mean, it's hard to say when you're completely brain dead, which, as far as morality is concerned, is the only thing that makes us human. Like if your heart's pumping and you're breathing, but you're on a machine and you have no cognitive function, then you're dead. Like you're not you. So what happens if that same individual that would normally be allowed to perish can come back and get up and walk around again?
Right on.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it. I think that too many lives have been lost to like a traumatic brain injury, or I personally have a friend that defied the odds and was pronounced brain dead, but given time, woke up, and now today you can't tell that there was ever a difference. But
That's so crazy.
at the beginning of his hospital stint, we were allowed to come in to say our goodbyes because they were going to unplug him. But he just decided to not be dead anymore. Like he just, they went in one day to check on him, and he was sitting in the chair next to the bed.
That's some
And
some Punisher shit.
yeah, they started
Fucking
talking to him. They gave him the, like, do you know where you are? Do you know your name? And he could answer all these questions. And he had some trouble at first. There was obviously, you can't be brain dead for a few weeks and not have side effects. But those side effects through physical therapy, mostly on his own, went away. And viewing that, this story had a little bit of meaning to me because I like seeing that even in an extreme case where someone not only isn't having cognitive function, but they are unable to control their own breathing, and the subconscious elements are completely gone. This company, privately owned, has been granted this week ethical approval from a medical board to start testing on people.
Oh wow.
So
What have
we
they been
should
testing on? Just on rats or
yeah,
something?
probably,
Or
yeah,
mice?
mice, rats, and now they've been given this actually had to get an ethical approval because you're talking about reanimating the dead, basically. And that could be, I mean, that's zombie shit to me.
I
That's real close.
Man, I don't know. That's interesting. I'd be curious. I don't know. Like I can't logically think of why, if they came back, they would like identify as a different person.
Right. They should. What you're hoping for, what, and I believe not only what they're hoping for, but what they assume is that if I was to die, brain dead today, right now, I just had a stroke, brain shut off, you put me on life support, I sit on life support for weeks, and then BioQuark comes in and chooses me for a study, and
Mm-hmm.
they give me the stem cells, and they use this laser pinpointing to move to kind of guide the cell growth. Um,
Do they cut open heads for this, or what's their approach?
I don't know anything about the actual approach of the injection, like I guess is what you would call it. Whatever
Oh,
their,
okay.
I just know that their proposal was for reanimating brain dead patients using stem cell and laser guidance, which lasers have been used to generate cell growth previous to this. This is nothing new. It's only when you combine the stem cell and the laser rejuvenation with brain tissue to produce a cognitive brain again that becomes the issue. Like that becomes the new frontier here.
Okay.
But if they came to me and did this, and then I showed up a few weeks later to do this podcast, you would expect that I'm just the same person with maybe a lapse in time. You
I
know where
wouldn't
I
know
was
what the
out.
fuck to expect.
Yeah,
I mean, we would for sure just baby step through this. Like
but
I would be super impressed that you knew how to turn a computer on. So
yeah, the the fear is obviously a more religious side. That if you've seen the movie Lazarus, not Lazarus, is that it?
Lazarus effect.
Yeah, Lazarus effect. That's it. Um, where she comes back and has lived what she perceives a lifetime in hell. So if there is a heaven or hell, and regenerating brain activity pulls you back from that, you've now experienced timelessness. So a minute is the same as an eternity in that aspect.
So
So and in the Lazarus effect, they brought her back, and hell had changed her. So she was telepathic and could just wreak havoc. Um,
who?
what happens if brain
How old
activity
is
is
this movie?
Lazarus effect?
Yeah.
Probably 2014 ish, if I had to guess,
Really?
somewhere there. Yeah.
I remember the name. I do not remember the movie at all.
It had oh, what's his name? The guy from the League is on it.
Lazarus effect. Oh, yeah, I don't know him by name. Mark
Right.
Duplass or Duplass.
Yeah,
Duplass,
and what
whatever.
was her name? She's the one that looks like the other girl. That's why I was getting confused.
Oh, Olivia Wilde.
Olivia Wilde, right? Um, Olivia Wilde comes back and she's able to kill things with her mind.
Sure.
So that's a fear, but I believe more realistically, we're looking at what happens if they are soulless. Like, what happens if you bring back a zombie?
Well, then they're just a vegetable, right? At that point?
Right, but if they're a vegetable already, so if you were to bring back cognitive function, what happens if they then just kind of mindlessly drone but can walk, and I don't know, some. So I think that was probably the big fear, is that we're gonna screw around and make a zombie race. Um,
Yeah, but I don't know. It, in my opinion, if they're at the point where you can pull the plug on them and that's just the end, then why not give it a fucking go? Why not try?
right, and that's where they got the approval, because right now they are at the stage where they're hoping that they could restore breathing on the own, regulating own heartbeat and temperature, and then terminate. It's not, we're not looking at the first time go of this, bringing back a brain dead individual to full capacity.
Yeah.
But that's definitely where they are headed.
So they're trying to get them back into a position where they could use physical therapy and like, well, I guess therapy in general to make them come back to what they were.
Yeah,
Before.
just
Okay.
wake them back up. Yeah, just kind of make that, bring them out of the coma or whatever they're in, back to the present world, to where they could start healing. Hopefully, if that all went well, that they could up the ante and make it where you can take a completely brain dead person and use their treatment and have that person back to life.
So if they use that same technology on somebody who wasn't a vegetable, if they use like the lasers and the stem cells and that stuff, could they potentially not grow but like expand somebody's brain, like
Make
getting
a superhuman person.
just make me a little bit better at math. That's all I'm asking.
I don't know. I think with the stem cells, they generally regrow you as you were.
Hmm.
So I don't know if they could now, maybe after we've perfected this, then that's where we go afterwards. But right now, it kind of looks like they're just trying to accomplish the feat of making someone that was normal, who had that stripped away, back to being normal.
Yeah.
I don't know if
That's cool.
we could program anything to allow you to grow like another cerebellum or something.
Another wiener.
Yeah.
Fucking dog. That's crazy.
But that the company, once again, the name was BioQuark. They are
Cork?
pushing for
Like-
funding. Yep. BioQuark. BioQuark.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And it's the Reanima Bioscience Project is what they're currently working on. And they are Umbrella Corp. So stay tuned for that.
That's crazy. That'd be cool if that works. I mean, it seems like the people that are suffering through that stuff are, I don't know, like some 16-year-old kid that went through a car accident or some shit like that. Like I don't know, they seem typically like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. They're not shitty people. They're just like caught in a terrible situation where their ability to human was taken away from them.
Right, especially when you see the instance where everything else seems to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if they could just wake up, then they would be okay. Like, it's not like they're missing both arms and both legs, and half their face is gone.
Yeah.
This guy he got hit too hard, and the damage to his brain was too great.
Yeah.
Alzheimer's patients, same type deal.
Oh, okay.
You could have an Alzheimer's patient that has lost the ability to connect areas of their brain to make, or not to make, but to recall memory. Now, if this works for that, then you could hopefully, part of the company's plan is to be able to rebuild the neural pathways in an Alzheimer's patient so that they're able to recall, able to function again. A cure for Alzheimer's would be incredible because you have lots of. My grandmother does the same thing. She
Yeah.
was physically not ill. Like there was nothing. She didn't get cancer. She didn't have a heart attack. She eventually became so senile that she wouldn't eat for days and days and days, like things like that. So that if you could fix that, then who knows? Like she could have been a lady that lived to be 120. Like
Yeah,
that's
for
not
sure.
a, that was when she passed away. The only thing really wrong with her was her mind. So BioQuark could be moving in a direction that could solve that issue. Where when the only thing that goes is your mind, they can bring it back. That's
That's
pretty
pretty
exciting.
rad. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to see that succeed.
Now, on the second half of our little science get together here, I have a little recall to a previous episode, a little bit. Um, AlphaGo from Google
Yeah.
was the AI that beat the young Chinese man at Go,
Mm-hmm.
which was Go is a game that has as many moves uh, as there are atoms in our galaxy. Like there are no predetermined moves to what you can do. So most of it is all on feeling. You can certainly lose or win at this game, but if you were to be perfect at it, there's a way to just kind of not have that happen.
Yeah.
Sorry, like you could just not. If you were perfect at it, you could just not find yourself in a trap. The board is. You could probably talk a little bit about this from looking at it, but the board is like a giant.
It's like 20 by 20 grid, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a giant. It's a giant grid, and your pieces can be placed like halfway in between grids, and it's way too confusing for even like for me to even learn how to play. Like that's too much.
It's
But
like
that
the
has
basic idea of it is to just surround your opponent's pieces and then you take those pieces as yours. Like you take them off the table and they're scored as your points.
right. Yeah, so kind of like a chess scenario there, where you're just capturing pieces, but because of the board size and because of the way that you're allowed to place, it has always been considered an entirely human game. It's feeling. The chess robots analyze every possible move. Over and over again, they quantify the data, and then whatever move you make, they know every possible move you can make from there.
Right. But
That's how they won.
That's because they were programmed to know that. Like that's
Right.
the
Yep.
moves were programmed into them by a human. It didn't learn it itself.
Right. And so with AlphaGo, we have that we talked about before, and AlphaGo was the first general AI. Uh, Google is sponsoring it. They purchased the company and push forward with it, and we're getting, excuse me, we're they're getting a little bit better understanding of what, not understanding, they knew what happened. They're releasing a little bit more of the information of what happened with AlphaGo, which was the program that beat the grand champion of Chinese Go. AlphaGo uses what's called deep reinforcement learning. Previous AIs that we have available, if you want to call them AIs, like Google Now and Siri, they only work off a pre-designed boundary.
Mm-hmm.
So you give them a set of answers to a set of questions. Anything outside of that, then they would just Google it for you.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, if you ask Siri...
how tall is Tom Cruise?
Right. I'll check the web for that.
No, she tells you. She will straight tell you. Yep.
So if there's things that they can find, or if they know, that they will give it to you. But if you go outside the boundaries and you say, like, how many light years would it take me to get to wherever? And then
Tootsie Roll Pop.
Yeah. If they don't know the answer, if they don't have one to come up with, they won't tell you that. They will just search the web. That's what they're programmed to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's a predetermined set list. She won't then, the next time, give you that right answer. She will always
just
refer to the web.
Yeah.
It's not in her pre-designed boundary.
And if Google searches were taking up my storage space on my phone, I'd be pretty fucking pissed. Like, if Siri was learning and it was just filling up my storage space, that would be pretty irritating.
But that is kind of what AlphaGo does. What AlphaGo does, it has an open algorithm that allows AlphaGo to play games. Right now, it's just games is what they programmed it with. It allows it to play games with itself based off an initial input and to learn what works better and to apply it. So for example, they started with Space Invaders. Nice retro game where little alien guys drop down and move across your screen in a left to right pattern as they get lower.
Mm-hmm.
And you can watch the video where AlphaGo fails at this miserably. Instantly gets hit. It doesn't know what it's doing. You turned it on, you gave it this program, and you made it compete. And it doesn't know what it's doing. So it just dies very quickly. Worse than almost any person that will ever play this game. But they let it run overnight. The guys leave. And the scenario ran for about 8 hours. And when they came back, it was more precise than any human that could ever play the game. And it would beat it perfectly every time. This seems minuscule when you talk about it, like what it's doing.
Maybe to somebody, not to me. That's for fucking sure. That's pretty goddamn crazy.
Well, if you tell me that the game got better, that's fine. Like, that doesn't seem that substantial. But when you realize that the programmers didn't tell it what the game was, why it was playing it, or for how long it needed to play, it starts to become more important. Like, it was just given the opportunity to do so, not a directive.
Right. It's like, if you get bored tonight, you can play Space Invaders. Right on, man.
Yeah.
See you guys in the morning.
Yeah. That's kind of what they did. They it's not internet bound. It can't go out and look up new information, but the algorithm is built in a way that it can learn meaning everyday scenarios. Like it doesn't have to be Space Invaders. It could have been any game or any problem.
Sure.
Um
Oh man, now they need to get with Boston Dynamics so they can make like a stand-up robot, and then they can give it the big buck hunter fucking shotgun, and then just teach it to play big buck hunter flawlessly. That would be sweet.
that would be pretty cool. the the algorithm allows AlphaGo to develop its own strategy, which is something we haven't seen in any previous AI capability, which means if you take the best player of any game and just let it program that person's playing style, the computer will change it to what it feels is best. So beforehand, where you would take every possible move and give it to it, and then the computer would process that data and spit out, here's the every possible counter to that move. This one doesn't. It can actually build its own strategy to play a game like Go that is mostly feeling. There's no actual mathematical way to go about it. It just kind of, it can't compute the amount of possible moves. So it just has to feel like yeah, putting that
dude.
piece there. And by the end of the experiment, it was able to beat the grand champion of that game.
That's nutty. That's nutty. So they started with Space Invaders and then moved in to Go.
Yeah, they started with Space Invaders and they moved into more complex games. After Go, they moved on to Doom. So it's now starting to play 3D games in the same way.
So now it's trained to run around and shoot people. That's
right. Yep, that's the first thing they're teaching it, is how to run around and shoot people. No, they're giving it the problem is learning a way. It's not the algorithm or the program that's the fault. What's at fault is being able to write a way for whatever program you wanted to learn to infiltrate the system. Like, it has to be written at least well enough that the system knows what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they're having to battle with right now, is if you give it Doom to a blank computer, well, it's like, thanks for the information, but like, what do you want me to do? Like, they have to be able to write it to where the system will start playing.
I wonder, like, how it is like programmed to respond. Like, I don't know anything about that stuff, but how like that. Oh fuck! What am I trying to say? Like that computer that was programmed to play Tetris. Like, it couldn't finish Tetris, so instead of losing, it just paused the game and it never finished playing Tetris. So in its mind, it beat Tetris because it never lost at Tetris, or mind, I guess. That was its tactic. Like, it just like, well, fuck you. I'm just not gonna. That's how I will not lose. In something like these computer games, how do you program that losing is bad? Like, are they punishing the computer, or like what?
That's the exact point of this, is that the Tetris one was programmed with the Tetris parameters. So when it couldn't beat it, it would just stop. This one doesn't analyze, it doesn't know every possible move, and so when it doesn't have a move, it just stops playing, which is what the Tetris thing did.
Yeah.
It ran, okay, here's all the possible moves. This one, there's not one that fits here. And then it stopped playing.
Yeah.
This one loses. It loses a lot in the beginning. So it plays this basically your I don't want to call it AI because what is playing is AI, but the versus computer mode of any
Hmm.
game. It loses to that and then can adapt to eventually never lose at that, which is that is much different than knowing all of the possible moves and preventing a loss.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I
So,
just I just think it's interesting that they're able to program it to keep it open to like, okay, that didn't work, let's try again. It's so fucking strange
right.
that it's literally teaching itself how to play the game.
Yes. Yeah. That's the pathways that it uses are very similar to that of a human brain. It can recall pathways not used in previous games. Um, it can recall pathways that haven't been used in several previous games back if
Oh, okay.
the situation arises again. So if I lose to you in a game of whatever we're playing, and then we play 50 more games and I win every one, and then the next game comes out and you do a move that was on
That one that I won.
the yeah, that
Yeah.
one that you won, it would remember that and call back that strategy and change itself to prevent you from winning.
That's pretty crazy. I
Yeah,
mean, a
true
human can't do
true
that.
adaptation.
Not, I mean, considering
A human can, but that's all that can is a human, and not to that quick of a scale.
right, yeah, not and not that quickly, like not that impulsively, like oh fuck, like this needs to change. And the amount of times that you have to see that before it starts to make a mark is more than once. Like
Right, and this would be just once.
these guys are playing Go for 20 years. This computer's been playing Go for 3, 2,
Yeah,
1,
8 hours,
not long.
and
Yeah,
it'll have it down. Yeah,
it's nutty. Super crazy.
yeah. It was actually crazy enough that they were forced by Google when they were purchased to make an AI. They were forced to make an AI ethics board. So
It's the beginning. It's the beginning
yeah,
of
whatever
something.
whatever Google found when they purchased the company and went ahead and funded their research, they made them add an ethics committee to the board. So whatever their next step is with AlphaGo, it has to be ethically responsible.
It's Ava, dude. It's Ava from Ex Machina. She's just
Yeah.
inside of the computer making decisions, and it's just
Just
a little robot person.
yeah, just waiting to get out.
Yeah. That's fucking nuts.
Elon Musk was a big person on the Google AI program, which is called like DeepMind,
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah,
He's
something
involved.
like that.
Elon
Yeah,
Musk is
DeepMind.
involved with DeepMind.
Yeah, they're involved in a way that they have donated enough money to get a say so, and they are the ones that push for the ethic committee. Him and there's a group of them. Stephen Hawking's in there,
Okay.
where they believe that artificial intelligence could eventually take over the world,
Yeah.
and they want to make sure that certain precautions are made to keep that from happening.
Man, what did Elon Musk say? He said that artificial intelligence is like opening up a gateway to hell or some shit like that. He had some real dark way of saying it that was yeah. I don't know. It was interesting that like how different how like-minded though that like that group of people can be, and then when something like AI comes up, how greatly their opinions differ, where Google thinks that that is the best route to go, whereas SpaceX, Tesla, Stephen Hawking think that it could potentially be the downfall. Rather, it's not potentially the downfall, it is going to be the downfall of man, and that we're just going to kill ourselves by going after that.
The idea that we can get to a point where we design something that can outdesign us is not science fiction. It is not far fetched to believe that we are smart enough to build something that can self improve, but that item that can self improve could so vastly outreach our ability.
Yeah.
Like, we are still people, no matter how smart we think we are still just a less hairy ape running around this planet. And given enough leeway, freedom, whatever you want to call it, anything with a general artificial intelligence could go on
I mean,
to,
all
to
it.
ex-
Go
yeah,
ahead,
it
dude.
could go
Sorry.
on to expand past anything that we've ever created, and it could also eventually deem us to be unnecessary or even a threat.
It's, man, I don't know. Just repeating the same shit over and over again, but it's just like as soon as it's able to remake itself better than we were able to make it, then that's it. Like as soon as it's able to recreate itself better, then that's the beginning of that insane spike of exponential growth. That is this going to, as soon as that happens, is this going to fucking skyrocket?
Oh yeah, there's a little chart that shows it from these guys that says right now we look at artificial intelligence the way that we would look at a monkey that can wear a hat and ride a unicycle. Like, it's, oh, look how cute that dumb animal is that it can do things like a person.
Yeah.
And very quickly they believe that it will go from, oh, look how cute that is, to, oh, holy shit. We
Yeah.
don't have any more engineers. We don't have any more architects. Like, that they could just take over.
It's pretty
Because
bananas.
everything you do, they will find a way to do it better.
Yeah, or operate without it.
Yeah. Or yeah, just omit it from our civilization. Pretty scary.
Yeah, it's nuts. But probably keep us around for a slave race, I would imagine, at least for a little
Yeah.
bit.
I hope so. I think it's going to be weird is right now we look at the very bottom class as a burden that should have moved up for security, but it could very well kind of flip flop where the upper class gets taken over by all artificial intelligence, and they don't have anywhere to move up to, so you're going to have PhDs running McDonald's drive-through. Like, how would you combat, unless they produce so much money that our government's able to subsidize everyone's living? Losing all of those careers to an AI would be detrimental to our economy.
Oh boy. Yeah. Yep. Welp.
That's how we all die.
That's fucking bananas.
But old Elon is not completely against robots doing a bunch of cool things for us, because I got to watch just yesterday a very nice test drive and kind of review of the Model 3,
Oh yeah.
which sold 100,000 or 115,000 units on its first day. It's up to almost 200,000 units pre-ordered. People are going crazy. It's a $35,000 base model Tesla.
Yeah.
These things are getting 250 approximate miles to a charge, and every single model, including the very basic $35,000 model, can navigate and drive to you wirelessly. So you
Oh
can
man.
walk out and instead of calling valet or whatever, hit a button on your watch or whatever, and your car will drive up to you and you can get in, and then it will drive you
What are
home.
oh I should have looked into this. I don't know why I didn't even consider it. What are DUI laws when it comes? Can you just but what are laws when it comes to self-piloting cars? I imagine you still have to be in the driver's seat.
You still have to be in the driver's seat, and you still have to be able to maintain control if it was to turn off. So right now, you will still get a DUI. It's same way as if your keys, you can get drunk, unlock your car, crawl in it, and go to sleep. And if a cop pulls up and taps on the glass, you can get a DUI that way.
Yeah.
Even though you had no intention of ever operating it, you had the means to, under the influence, with keys and the car there and all that. So I think it'll still fall the same way. You can't go get trashed and then have your car drive you home yet. But we'll get there. It's definitely coming. Because that's going to be an argument over and over again until they change the law. Like, eventually it's going to have to be a setting where if autopilot fails, the car just shuts off. Like, pulls you over and
Can you
turns
imagine
off.
what roads look like at 2 o'clock in the morning? If you have to get in and it's like you have to blow into your car to get it to allow you to drive.
Yeah,
And then
manual mode.
yeah, you fail, so the car is just gonna drive itself, and then the fucking satellite fails. So then there's just like every street in Seattle is just packed with like some
Fucking
I Am
Teslas.
Legend looking scene of just a bunch of Teslas just all sideways and shit in the middle of the road.
Hey, that'll be step one. Step two is you'll just get home safely. So you gotta make baby steps.
Fuck yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. The very base model not only comes with auto drive, but auto drive to you, which is you can just call for your car and it will come to you.
Can you send it places? God, that would be something else.
To go pick you up pizza.
So, well, like, you just, if you could just like drive to work and then just send it home, so you didn't have to worry about parking, and then when you got off work, just call your car, it shows up, and then drives you home.
Boy, that's pretty cool. Maybe that's close.
Wow.
Why would distance matter? I mean, if it knows.
Yeah, I can't imagine distance matters. I, I, I'm curious about like when you call it to your watch, where it goes to. Because if say you're standing on the westbound side of the road, but the car comes from the eastbound side of the road, is the car just gonna like pull a fucking your Lyft driver last week and just
It plows through people. I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to wait until not only prototypes are out, or not really prototypes, but early releases are out, until we see the mass amount of people start using it.
Yeah, I'm gonna take
Then
side
we'll
streets
see.
until then.
Yeah, $35,000 is a fantastic entry point for that car.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
if everybody that can own a brand new name it, can also own this car, then you're gonna start seeing, because people are buying it so they can do these type of things.
Yeah, because it's fucking awesome.
Oh yeah, I'm real jealous.
Yeah, what's better? What's better than a car that you have to drive? Well, it's a car that drives you around just by itself. It's like being rich and having your own driver, but instead of it talking to you about dumb shit, it just drives you places.
Yeah, and it only costs as much as any other SUV that's out there.
Yeah, shit, not even. I mean, how much is what is the $35,000 car? How much was your Charger when it was new? I mean,
42.
yeah,
So yeah, but less than what that Daytona was. Uh, it's it's a very basic car now. 35,000. I mean, that's pretty. That's not like your Honda Civic, but that's
sure.
definitely your name it truck, any Chevy. Not even like a
Your
nice version.
Corollas, your Camrys, your
Yeah, they're probably a little cheaper, but not much. Everything's at least 25 grand. If you're going like not Daewoo, but we're talking your your Camaros or your Tahoes or anything that's above just the cheapest you can fucking get,
yeah.
you're looking at 30,000 or better. So
It's pretty sweet. I'm stoked. I'm happy they're making headway. When I first heard about them quite a few years back, I thought it was just going to be another little fizzle that it quickly burnt out, but they're killing it, that's for sure.
uh they're killing it, and the idea is catching on. Like San Francisco has now said that what is it, by 2030 they will be 100% renewable energy reliant. So all solar panel or something of that nature
San
for all of the
Francisco's
city's needs.
full of fuckers, so I'll believe it when I see it because I
Yeah.
imagine they're just smelling their own farts like on South Park and just
Yeah.
making shit up because yeah,
It,
because
it
it's
made
San
the, it
Francisco.
made the national newscape there, but you're right. It could just be like, I could tell you today that by 2030 I will be a cyborg. It doesn't mean
Right.
that it's gonna fucking happen, but that's the city's proposal. So we'll see where that goes.
Word, word. Well, man, we're at an hour 7. You wanna do you wanna call it? Do you wanna move into video games? Wasn't too big of a week. Some more.
It wasn't big. Let's hit what we got. There is a couple of important things. I don't know if you got to play it, but of course the beta for um oh, help me out.
Overwatch.
The Overwatch happened. So did
Yes.
you get back into the open beta for that?
Played the fuck out of it. It's still
Was it
going
awesome?
on. It got extended one more day, so it'll be playable through tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah.
A couple people on the Facebook page talked about it. It was a very exciting time. This game has got a ton of hype. Man, an absolute ton.
It's such a weird. Some people fucking hate it. It's so weird that some people are so against it. Like they're just like they they just fucking hate it. And I mean if you're not into class-based shooters, then don't go
Okay,
play
so
Overwatch because that's all
the
it
people
is.
that hate it, that are complaining about hating it, also had to have pre-ordered it to play the beta. So
Maybe. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I played the beta and then I bought it to get access to the beta because I think it's a fucking blast. It's a ton of fun. But I don't know. A lot of people want to say that Battleborn's a better game and that they're just lying. I feel like that they're just being cunts because Blizzard made it. Because Blizzard made Overwatch, so that's why they're not going to like it. Like, we're not going to like mainstream games.
Right. It's also for a lot of the reviewers, if you don't go against the grain, that you don't get noticed.
Sure.
And just like everybody else, they're clickbait, and they need people. There was a guy that talked about Kobe not being that good of a basketball player and his retirement really not meaning anything. And he was a nobody news writer, but because that was what he said,
Yeah.
he ended up on ESPN. So some people are just going to be negative so that they get recognized.
Sure.
A little.
Oh
bit.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, we know people like that in everyday life. Just simple shit, and they're not making it onto ESPN, but they still fucking do it. Any amount of attention will do. But it's, I mean, it, to be fair, there's plenty of people that like both, but it just seems like it's just so weird that Overwatch has been answered with just hate and disdain. Like, you either love it or it's the worst fucking, it came to your house and fucking stabbed your mother. Like, that, those are the two opinions about it.
I haven't seen that much bad about it. I guess I've been sheltered from it. I've seen so much good, so much positive.
Yeah.
I'm stoked to play it. I haven't got to play the betas. I can't wait. I'm not gonna pre-order it, so I gotta wait for it to come out. But I'm really looking forward to playing it.
It's a ton of fun. I was playing Dark Souls 3 and I finally beat a boss after I probably put 5 hours, if not more. If it's not 5 hours, it's fucking more into beating this boss, and I finally beat him, and it just took the wind out of my sails. So Overwatch had just started open beta, so I just went to play that because it was that game. That game will put you down. That's for sure. Bring it down a peg.
It'll bring you down a peg or two.
But announcement wise, did you watch that Dawn of War 3 announcement?
I did.
Dude.
Yep.
I know games aren't based on cinematics, but holy buckets.
Pretty fucking good
real
cinematic.
Badass. Yeah. Real badass.
Yeah, when your Dawn of War 3 cinematic blows away 90% of the movie trailers for this year,
Seriously.
you might be onto something. It was impressive. They showed this very, God, the way that the Marines like immediately fell and then kind of came back and annihilated through, and then all of a sudden then they lose again. It gave you this sense of it did a very good job of showing me that there wasn't going to be class favorites.
Oh yeah.
Like the enemy in that little cinematic, it seemed that it was just as likely that X beat C as C beat X.
Yeah,
like
I gotcha. Well balanced.
I thought that was real nice. Yeah, it was beautiful. What is it? That was the Dawn of War. What was it called?
What was the There was one of the dudes on Game Informer was talking one day, and he's like, I can't remember a game that had a subtitle that was better off because it had that subtitle. So like Uncharted 3, Drake's Revenge, or whatever the fuck it's called. Like, you can for sure just drop the Drake's Revenge or whatever the hell and just
Yeah.
go with Uncharted 3. The Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt. Fuck off with the Wild Hunt.
Matter.
It's the only Witcher 3, therefore it's Witcher 3. Stop with the dumb shit. But that was, yeah. I forget now what this Dawn of War was. Is this Warhammer 40k Dawn of War 3? So, I mean, it's
That at least they nailed that. But what was the video? Um, was it an announcement trailer
Yeah,
or something like
yeah,
that? If you wanted to Google it,
yeah. If you
yeah,
just go to dawnofwar.com and right at the very top, you can click on the as long as you're 18 or older, click on the watch trailer button
yeah.
and do that.
It's worth checking out. It's worth checking out. Yeah, it was a. It's gorgeous. I mean, that's you told me to look at it, and I watched it, and it's very impressive.
Yeah,
I
it's
hope that gameplay matches that intensity.
sure. I mean, if anything, it was cool to look at during that time.
Yeah.
So I'm stoked on it. And I don't know a lot about the Nvidia release or announcement. Did you hear about it?
Yep. The Nvidia 10 is it 1080? Yep.
1070 and the 1080.
Yeah, the 1070 and the 1080. 1070 is going to be a little bit lower on the scale, but much cheaper. You're looking at 300 and something dollars. The 1080 is going to be at the $500 range. Both of them are cheaper than
Titan.
uh, the 980 Ti or anything else that's run around the market, and they are phenomenal cards. One of the I guess spokesmen or creators for Nvidia said that it was I think what he used the word was like it's reckless how well these perform, like that whatever they've broken through to get this new level of performance, it's it's supposed to be incredible. So I mean, I'll probably get one. I don't know. The hype is big on this.
Yeah.
You're looking at cheaper than a 980 Ti, and the performance is just supposed to be.
Here's where why I won't rush out and get one is it's currently I can get a 1070 for the price that I paid for my 970. My 970 is the same price still. Like it's same price today as when I bought it. And why not wait? Because my 970 can run everything fine. Why not wait for the 11 series or the 12 series card to come out and then spend that much money on a card that's going to be actually useful? Because even right now, not owning a 980 Ti is pointless right now. There's unless you're using VR. There's not really any purpose whatsoever, and especially having dual cards is completely asinine. It's just a flex of your wallet.
Yeah, I agree. It's I guess it is VR. Like that's what this card, even from Nvidia, spouts that this card is cheaper than the higher end last gen graphics card, but is optimized for VR. So if you're sitting at home with an Oculus Rift or one of the HTCs, maybe this is where you want to go, because I don't know if our 970s
I don't think the 970 can carry it. I think the
would
980
truly handle.
Yeah, I think the 980 is like what you need, and then anything above that's just going to be a bonus.
Yeah. So maybe there, but I looked. I still got to pay $314 to get a 970 SSC from an EVGA, which is what I have in mind, and it's like you can get a 1070 for 345 or something.
Yeah.
It's what they are. So yeah, you're right. I guess maybe waiting. I think what they're trying to do is keep people from doing that. Bring the price down low enough that people will upgrade. They won't wait to just get a previous year's model.
Yeah. But with
Which
it's I mean it's new technology, so it's for sure just going to get better. So it's cool that they're able to make them for cheaper and they're able to charge less, but where we are right now, if I owned a 7 series, I would be stoked. I'd be stoked to go out and get one. But
Right.
where I'm at with a 970, like I'm fine. I'm fucking fine. Everything runs at high. I'm good. So, I mean, for
Right.
us, it's not a big deal. But
No, no, you're right. It's not. It's the price is fantastic, and you're right. If you were sitting here and just scrolling through the internet trying to figure out what card for sub 400 you could afford, and you're like, should I get a 970 or should I go 980 and wait a little bit? Like, what should I do?
yeah,
And then now this pops out. You're like, oh well,
obviously, yeah,
obviously, yeah. I
doing
just
this.
go 1070, and then I'm nailing it. Or if you were thinking of doing a 980 Ti, and now you can get the 1080
For
like
half the
that's
price.
yeah. The 1080 is still $500, but it's not the 8
Oh,
or
the
whatever
1080.
it is.
Yeah, yeah.
So um if you're building a computer tomorrow, now are at the end of May, I guess. Um, you do have some pretty phenomenal options that didn't. Man, you know who I'd be mad at? Like, if I would be super pissed off if I was Devin. Like, dude's running a couple of 980s. Like, sorry, like for half the price, you could have had so much more. That would be an issue.
It's probably gonna
But
be
it's not like
punching his
running.
dashboard while driving down the road listening to this. But
But it's not like having, like you just said, it's not like having dual 980s is now obsolete. They're still so far beyond
Yeah.
anything that's necessary.
they're gonna be running shit at max for years to come.
Yeah.
Still.
So, like, you no fret. You're still fucking king of the mountain.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you've been holding on to that old shitty GPU and you've been thinking about going, this is a much better option
Fuck yeah,
than
it's your way out.
than a 980. Yeah, I'd be really interested to start seeing benchmarks come up here shortly, probably next month. We'll be able to talk about it, but if Nvidia is able to deliver everything they're promising, then this is a fantastic step for that company.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I think it's just showing
for all of us.
Yeah, it's more of the times like we talked about with the console gaming. They start dropping the price of those GPUs, and now you're telling me I can have something that can't even be compared to console
Not even a little bit.
for $400 instead of 1,000. Like, that's, I think that's what they're doing it. I think that we're still looking at the death of console right before our eyes without them
I
announcing
don't
it.
know if I would go as far to say that it's dying, because I mean I'll give them the respect that they didn't give PC gaming when PC gaming wasn't as powerful as console gaming, and I think that it'll go in waves, but I think that just a lot of shit is shifting right now, and they need to figure out like where their footholds are and what's going to be reliable. Because their current business model, I don't care. These entertainment systems is fucked. It's the shittiest idea, in my opinion. That's just my opinion.
If they follow the business model that they're going down right now, then they're just turning themselves into PCs. They're just going to turn themselves into Steam boxes.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we looking at now? Xbox trying to go the way of modular design, so you can pull out and upgrade graphics cards, and they're going to be codependent on Windows 10. Like, that's just a Steam box.
Yeah.
So maybe you don't see the. I mean, when I say the death of console, I think the consoles as we know it are just going to kind of morph into self-contained gaming PCs.
and
Consoles are going to be
and
Alienwares of.
but I mean that's just it giving birth to itself again. Like it's just a console. Like
Yeah,
if it's just a little PC that runs, say, like Steam OS, then it's just a video game console at that point. Like it's nothing, or not Steam OS, but like Steam Big Picture, say.
well, that's Steam OS pretty close.
I've never fucked with it, but it's just like once it becomes a little computer that just runs an operating system that runs video games, then it's just became a console again.
Kinda. So the line will blur to the point that it doesn't matter.
I feel like it's just gonna blur and blur and blur until it just cuts off and it just like is born again as just the Xbox, when it wasn't all this silly goofy bullshit with having being required to be online is going to be a thing until we die. That's just how it is. That's how it's going to fucking be. The games are going to constantly be like that. You can't get away from it.
I agree.
But there's just too much shit that they focus on over gaming, I think. But I don't know. I don't own one, so I really have no room to talk. Because fuck them. Did you see?
Well,
Did you see the Battlefield 1 announcement?
don't run out and pre-order it. That's all I've got to say to everybody. Don't do it.
It's too late.
They
I'm
got your
sure.
hopes
I'm
up.
sure they already
I
went
mean,
gold.
I know, but they look who's making this game before you go and pre-order.
They make great games. They've. I mean, the last one, Hardline, was bad, but
Real bad.
the shit before that was great. I didn't play 4.
Yep.
I heard 4 was great. I played
It's
the hell
good.
out of Battlefield 3. That was a lot of fun. Battlefield 2, Bad Company, all that. 1942, back to the beginning. I think 2142 was a bit of a shit sandwich, but
But these guys have also produced Battlefront.
who is it? It's
Dice.
Dice. But they, who designs the game? God damn it! I should have had this written down. It's
It's EA and Dice. I mean,
fuck.
I don't.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. So
I mean, it's you. We have got to stop pre-ordering these guys because they have now they've found out that if their trailer is good and they produce this big hype startup,
you can already.
they're going to get a ton of
pre-order it.
pre-orders and then they can just let it suck. And they have to stop doing that. Like they have to. It looked
That's awesome.
fantastic.
You can
Don't get
already
me wrong. I
pre-order it
really, really,
on-
really want to. Yeah.
Fucking on their website. They just
Yeah,
announced
on
it.
Origin or whatever it is. I really want to play it, but I'm not going to pre-order it this time because they fucked me on Battlefront, and we have to stop. It's got to stop now. Like they've got to put out a couple of really good games before I'll go back to trusting them again.
I believe that they will put out a good game. I don't believe that World War One offers good material for a game. I had a conversation on not really a conversation, just comments going back and forth between Devin, my buddy in Japan, Johnny, and myself, and Johnny was saying that it would be cool to see like a gritty World War One story based, or not story based, but like a gritty World War One story for a PC game. But Battlefield doesn't do that. They don't make those games. They do not make
No.
single player games. The
Not at
last
all.
one that came out was Bad Company 2, and that was Well, I was in the Navy when it came out, so it's been a couple years. And it's wishing for something that is obviously not going to come out is ridiculous. And I'm just going to call a spade and say that a fucking game with it just doesn't have the excitement. It doesn't have the draw. And I think Call of Duty went the opposite direction on the spectrum. Like it went like just like fucking yeah, just like over
robots
space. Cuz we're out of ideas. And then these guys are just like, what if? Just the total fucking hipster approach. You ready for this? World War I. And then they just like turned and walked out of the room. And then everybody was like freaking out about how good of an idea it was. Is it? No, it's fucking World War II ran out of gas. Like they just stopped making those games because they're not fun anymore. They're boring. So going forward just to go back even further, I don't know.
It looked fucking good.
Oh, it looks super good.
That it plays well when it comes out, but
looks
don't
looks.
pre-order.
We just talked about video cards just came out. This, if there's anything that they are capable of doing right now, it's making shit look good. And that's unfortunately what a lot of companies are taking advantage of, is just make it shiny enough that it sells.
Right.
I will eat my fucking words. If it's a good game, I'll admit that it's a good game, but I have absolutely not a single high hope for this game at all. Unless I can drive the train that is a giant cannon, then I'll pre-order this fucking game right now. If I can drive that train in multiplayer and shoot that motherfucker.
Well, you'll be able to, but you'll have to get a token.
Oh, okay. I'll wait for the token. That if it's a token, I'll wait for it. That's fine.
Jesus.
If I can use that cannon that's like 10 feet in diameter to shoot one motherfucker that is irritating me, one little man that's like trying to hide in the bush 30 feet away,
just erase the mountain that he's on.
Yep, I'm in. I'm all in. But until then, World War I can go fuck itself.
Well, man, with that, I am out of shit and out of time.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, Melissa's passed out. Should probably go try and be a boyfriend or something. I don't know.
There you go.
I don't know
well,
what to do.
I, as always, have had a great time and hope everybody got something out of this. Hopefully you wished your mothers a happy Mother's Day and you didn't just let them sit around thinking about what a waste of fucking time you were. Be sure to go check us out at our Facebook page. Always talk to us, communicate with us. You can play games with us on the weekends. Check us out at horribleinfluence.podbean.com. Subscribe so we know that you are out there. 2,000 listeners is, I think, what our last thing was that we hit here recently.
We're coming up on it. Soon. We're not quite there yet.
Pretty fantastic. And check in with the Facebook page so we can get these giveaways going, because it's time to give away some free shit.
It'd be cool to hear from like anybody aside from. I love hearing from my friends. I love hearing from my family. But I know you're there, and I appreciate your support. I just want to hear from some fake person on the internet that might be listening to this. Not fake person, excuse me. Some person on the internet that just to prove that these follows are not fake is what I was trying to say.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you, and we will talk to you next week.
Bye.